Here's our new house, and this is what would be the garage, though there's no garage door, and so it's not a garage. Kylie and I have decided to turn this space into our gym. So we're gonna paint all this. We're probably gonna put mirrors all along that wall. It's a little bit low ceiling wise in here, but we might put a squat rack somewhere in there. Kettlebells, of course. And so the very first task that I want to do today is I just want to get this room prepped for painting. It's got these weird carpety things at the base, so that needs to come out. The floor is some sort of linoleum. It's pretty crappy, but since I'm painting, I'm gonna leave it down because then I won't have to tarp the floor off. So that's what we're doing. Might as well start now. Looky, looky, looky here. I love packages, and the bigger the better. This one right here, it's seen better days. It's full of holes. Holes everywhere. Luckily, I'm not too worried because what you are looking at is a squat rack and Olympic plates from RogueFitness. And so the squat rack, it's made of metal. I don't think anything on that is going to be damaged. And the Olympic plates, well, they're meant to be picked up and dropped thousands of times, so I'm pretty sure those are going to be fine. So squat racks and Olympic plates are going to be the topic of today's video, and the sponsor of this video is RogueFitness. They hooked me up with a squat rack free of charge. I had to buy the Olympic plates just like everybody else. So I'm going to try and assemble this squat rack in my new garage gym. Then I'm going to use it extensively, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you right here and now. But before I do that, I just want to quickly digress and bring you up to speed on what's happening. We live in a world that's changed. You know, COVID changed a lot of things, and one of the things that it's changed is that it's closed most gyms, and the gyms that have not been closed force you to wear a full-on hazmat suit. So instead of playing that game, I decided to convert my garage into a home gym. It's almost done, and I can't be more excited because outside of everything I just said, it's just going to be way more convenient to go from that door into that door, workout, and then go back to work or to play or whatever. Another thing that's worth mentioning is right now the world is sold out of fitness products. Things like gym mirrors and Olympic plates are in really high demand, and thus they're a commodity. And so I've been making do however possible, and one of the things that I've been improvising on is my mirrors. I actually scored these from a Habitat for Humanity. They're really big closet doors that have mirrors on them. I got 2 of them, and they are essentially gonna work as my gym mirrors. I'm gonna mount them horizontally on the wall, make little frames for them, and so that'll enable me to check out my form when I'm working out. The other thing worth mentioning is that the world is also sold out of Olympic plates and fitness squat racks and stuff, but RogueFitness has them in stock. And so if you take anything away from this video, maybe that's it, that they have Olympic plates, they have squat racks, and they're reasonably priced. Now I know there's people are going to say, what does reasonable mean? That could mean different things to different people. I bought 260 pounds of plates for roughly $700, somewhere there. And while that's not a small amount of money, I can tell you that I've been scouring Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for months, and I've seen crazier price tags on less weight. I've seen like rusty, crusty, 2-inch hold Olympic plates in the ballpark of $1,000, $1,200. So, you know, for roughly half price, you can get a brand new set of Olympic plates from RogueFitness. And as always, the links will be in the description below this video. So the last thing that I want to say is that I'm going to do this review a little bit different. I currently own a Rogue Monster Lite rack. It's a squat rack. This rack is kind of in that same class of racks. So what I'd like to do today is I'd like to compare this to the Rogue rack, because RogueFitness is arguably like the golden standard in the fitness world. And so I want to know, how does RogueFitness compare to RogueFitness? I'm sure there's other people online that want to know that too. And I'm going to do that as transparently as I know how. So basically, from here on out, I'm going to finish building my gym in time-lapse fashion. I got to mount the mirrors. I got to oil the benches. Once that's done, I got to test both racks, show you how they work, and then we'll do a in-depth walk around and I'll share my thoughts. Ready, set, go. In my pursuit of this home gym, I've been looking for horse stall mats for months, but again, it's the global pandemic, everything's sold out. So I found this guy named Rick on Facebook Marketplace, and Rick got this really high quality gym flooring from China. He actually ordered an entire shipping container, and he's kind of side hustling gym floors out of his garage. So if you're watching this and you're somewhere near Southern Oregon, you want some quality matting, Rick's your man. And I will link his information in the description below. And if you're watching from abroad, sorry guys and girls, I don't know what to tell you. Finally, both racks are assembled, and this is your first look slash first impression. So on the right here, we have the Rep squat rack, RogueFitness squat rack. I'm gonna butcher the model number, so I'll just write it in text here now. Whoop. And on the left, we have the Rogue Monster Lite. Both these squat racks are in the same class. The Rogue rack retails for about 475 bucks. The RogueFitness is a little cheaper. It's about 450, 449, something like that. So for all intents and purposes, we are comparing apples to apples. This is a fair comparison in my assessment. And as I was setting this up for the first time yesterday, I already noticed some things I really dig about this rack. So let's break those down here and now. Here we go. On the RogueFitness squat rack, there's built-in mounting points. And it comes with hardware that will enable you to anchor this rack down to concrete, to wood, as well as to a wall. And so that's a really cool feature that I may or may not utilize, but it's nice that it's there. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 mounting points so that you can secure this rack down to the ground. On the Rogue rack, no such features, though I suppose you could easily drill some holes and mount it. There is a way. It's just kind of nice that that rack already has it figured out, takes all the guesswork out. Now, since we're talking about stability, let's also notice that on the RogueFitness rack, the footprint is way beefier, and on the Rogue one, it's a lot smaller. So check it out, right here, look. That's huge. And that could be bigger. You know, here, if you have a small gym, you don't have a whole lot of space, this might actually be a necessity for you. But if possible, I think bigger is better because it's just gonna provide more stability. And in terms of, you know, in addition to the footprint being bigger, it's beefier. So you have these nice, thick, horizontal bars that are about twice as thick as on the Rogue rack. So far in those respects, RogueFitness is winning. It's also worth noting that when you have the vertical bars attaching to the horizontal bars, they have these little triangles. And on the RogueFitness, they are also beefier. The steel is thicker, the triangles are bigger, and so I presume this means more stability. It's also worth noting that the hardware is better on the RogueFitness rack. It comes with nylock nuts, versus on the Rogue, it has lock washers. And this could be a personal preference, but I am partial to the nylocks. I just feel like they hold a little tighter. They're a little higher quality. Now, this isn't a huge deal. I mean, ultimately this works. This is not gonna be like a rally car racer where the whole rack is gonna be shaking. More than likely, those bolts will never come untight. But, you know, those nuts and bolts are of higher quality. What else? What else? Okay, so check it out. On the rep squat rack, you have numbers 35, 30, somewhere in there is 25, 20, 15. So what these numbers help you with is more accurately adjusting where you want your Olympic bar to go. It kind of takes some of the guesswork out, right? So you can say, oh, I'm 2 below 30. And it just makes it a little bit easier and a little bit safer to adjust your bars so that they're flat, so that you don't run into any issues being off center, off balance. Again, that's not a huge, crazy feature, but it is helpful because otherwise you're just having to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's a little bit more room for error. Since we're already here, let's talk about this too. So these arms that hold your bar, they have these little dampeners, these little like shock absorbers that are made out of plastic. There's less of them on the Rogue rack versus the RogueFitness rack. So check it out. Here we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 shock absorbers. There's actually one here on the inside. And what this does is it prevents metal on metal clanking. So when you adjust these arms, if you accidentally slam them, it's not going to be damaging the metal, and it's going to be a lot more friendly on your ears. And on this Rogue rack, It's metal on metal all the way, so it's gonna be a lot louder. Woo! Let's do a side-by-side test, shall we? Look at this. This is a full drop right here. Ah, that hurts. Versus the RogueFitness, it's much quieter. I actually geeked out on this yesterday. I have a little decibel app on my phone, and I measured how loud both these were. RogueFitness at full drop came in at 92 decibels. And this one, the Rogue, came in at 102. So substantially louder. What else? One thing I totally dig is on the RogueFitness, get 2 Olympic plate holders. They're just built into the rack. And so not only does this give you a place where you can hold your bumper plates, but this too adds to the overall stability of the rack, because you can weight this side down, and if you're lifting on that side, it's just gonna wobble less. So far, I am way more partial to the RogueFitness squat rack. The one area where the Rogue rack overshines the RogueFitness rack is the pull-up bar. So on this monster Lite, you have a pull-up bar that has 2 settings. That's a wider one for wide grip pull-ups, or like, you know, wider, it's just thicker is what I'm trying to say. This bar is thinner, so you have a little bit more options. Whereas on the RogueFitness, you just get the one. Now, I don't know if there's an accessory that you might be able to buy that gives you 2, or maybe that bar will fit perfectly on this rack, who knows? But that is one area where the Rogue takes it over the Rep. Now that my first impressions are in, it's time to work out on both racks so you guys can see how they both perform. Let's do it. I've had this Kensui weight vest for about 8 months, and I haven't been able to use it because I haven't been able to find these Olympic plates. And now that I have my new plates, I can finally test out the vest. I kind of feel like a Ninja Turtle. I look ridiculous, but in the spirit of things, I'm just kind of giving it a go. Okay, since I have a second set of hands here via my fiance Kylie, I figured this is a good time to quickly spotlight something I've come to appreciate about these plates. So come on in, I'll show you. These Rep plates, they have little grooves in them, and these grooves are made for your fingers. So it makes it a lot easier to lift plates off. And so the heavier they get, the more I start to appreciate these grooves, because you're less likely to pinch your fingers. And just for comparison's sake, here's a competitor brand Ethos plate. And as you can see, there's no grooves. And so you can imagine that if all of the plates were nice and grooveless, it would be a lot more difficult to lift them off. Now, obviously with 10 pounds, that's not that big of a deal, but when you go down to the 50, 60 pound plates, it becomes more of a big deal. So that is just one thing to keep in mind, that grooves save fingertips. Since I have Kylie here, the next thing I want to do is I want to do a wobble test between the two racks. It's not going to be super scientific or official. Basically, I'm just going to grab a hold of each rack and wobble to my heart's content, and we'll see which one is more sturdy. But before I do that, we got to make the test fair. This RogueFitness rack has plate holders built into the rack, and so obviously with that amount of weight, it's going to be way more stable. So let's quickly just take these bad boys off. And again, these little grooves make it so easy. Okay, so now the racks are even for all intents and purposes. And you boys and girls are going to help me be the judge. So I'm just going to wobble side to side. Ah! It's pretty darn sturdy. That's the RogueFitness rack. Now let's come over to the Rogue rack. There's no plate holders to worry about. So we're going to do the same basic thing on this rack. A little bit more wobbly. What do you think? I think that one's a little bit more wobbly.
More wobbly for sure.
So it's not rocket science. The base of the Rogue rack is smaller, thus it's a little bit less stable. The base of the RogueFitness rack is bigger, thus it's more stable. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment below. Was it a significant difference? I want to hear from you. I found one other thing that I'm not a fan of on the RogueFitness squat rack. While in general I think these holders are better than on the Rogue, I don't like that they're starting to peel right here. They're kind of made out of a softer rubber. And so this rubber can kind of twist and curl. And so by contrast, if we go to the Rogue has two screws, one on each side. And as a result, these things aren't going anywhere. Is this a big deal? I'm not really sure. But if the folks at RogueFitness see this, perhaps they might think about making 2 screws in each one of those instead of 1. It's a relatively minor thing, probably an easy fix, but I think that this would definitely help improve the longevity of this little piece. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my new gym is finished. The mirrors have been hung, the workouts have been completed, and both these racks have been tested. So we finally arrived at the breakdown. So let's get into it and I'll share my final thoughts and then we'll sign off and do other things. So in front of you, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, are 2 different racks. They're in the same class. That's the Rogue rack over there. This is the RogueFitness rack. And in my workouts over the last few weeks, I've been trying to make them very squat rack centric so as to test the racks as best as possible. Did I look goofy in the process? Probably, but I accomplished my goals, so does it really matter? I think not. Both these racks cost roughly the same price. The RogueFitness rack is $25-ish cheaper. So for less money, you're getting way more. And so for that reason and everything I'm about to say, this one is the clear winner. The RogueFitness rack is the champion. With the RogueFitness rack, you get things like anchor points. We already talked about these, so I won't digress too hard, but you can mount this rack to the floor or to a wall. There's one on every corner. That's awesome. The steel construction of the entire rack is just thicker. It's more rigid. These triangles are bigger. Everything contributes to a more solid experience. The hardware is higher quality. And then you have things like 2 built-in Olympic plate holders. And that's just an awesome feature I really dig. Not only is it saving me more money, because with the other rack I would have had to buy additional arms to hold my Olympic plates. That would have cost easily 50 to 100 bucks. But with this rack, it's already built in, so I'm saving that money. But it's also just nice to have them placed here for extra stability. You know, when you put all these Olympic plates on the RogueFitness rack, it keeps it cinched to the ground, and it just keeps everything more stable. So in addition to the wider base and the thicker steel, having this extra weight here just makes me feel a little safer, gives me more peace of mind. Since we're here, let's quickly talk about these plates. These Olympic plates are very tough, very high quality. And so I have no issues with them. I'm gonna keep them. I paid for them with my own money and I love them. They look cool. They have these little grooves that help you not pinch your fingers. So when you're pulling them off the pile, especially as you go up in weight, these little grooves help you save your fingers, which is awesome. Moving right along, these things are constructed better on the RogueFitness rack. They're just more areas where there's little plastic spacers or rubber spacers, and they prevent metal on metal clinking, which is better for the rack and it's better for your ears. So that's something I appreciate. And the fact that the vertical arms of the squat rack have numbers on them makes it a heck of a lot easier to adjust these things so that they're level. At first I thought this was kind of a creature comfort, like a nice thing to have but not necessary. But the more I worked out on the RogueFitness rack, the more I realized it's just way easier to count, you know, 2 up from 25, 1, 2, come over here and do it on the same side. That's way easier than having to guess. With this Rogue rack, I'm constantly having to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's it. And then come over here and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 9 times out of 10, I have to readjust because my Olympic bar is a little bit off kilter. So, long story short, I believe this is the clear winner. It's a better product for less money. And for that reason, Kylie and I have decided to keep the RogueFitness rack for ourselves and to sell the Rogue rack because we don't need 2 racks. And so we are following my own advice and we're sticking with RogueFitness. That's it, that's all. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you were entertained. And for more videos that are just like this, but totally different, subscribe to this channel, BoutenkoFilms. All right, ciao.